Welcome to Succeed e-learning app. Today we are going to learn about an very interesting topic called as an how do organisms reproduce. In this topic, before we going, we supposed to know what is reproduction, right? So reproduction is a process of producing young ones of the similar kind. Here I am mentioning similar kind. Similar kind is nothing but exact copy of their parents. Just like a giraffe give birth to the giraffe, lion give birth to the lion, dog give birth to the dog. So this is all because of the reproduction. This reproduction is mainly to maintain the life on the earth. During reproduction, the genetic material called as an DNA will transfer from one generation to the another generation. This DNA is just like a blueprint. As like a blueprint, a model is made, right? Exactly as like the genetic information present in the DNA, the new progeny or the offspring is produced. This leads to the continuity of an life. But sometimes if there is any changes in the blueprint, that leads to the new species called as an variation. This variation is not harmful. This is because of an environmental changes, and because of this variation the life of a new formed species will be prolonged, and that makes the species to survive on the earth. For better understanding, let me give an example, the Royal Enfield. The blueprint of an Royal Enfield is same and the production is also same, but when there is a small changes for the upgrade, they will change the blueprint. Because of the changes, there is a variety of an Royal Enfield, just like Royal Enfield Classic 350, 500, Continental, Himalaya. These all are Royal Enfield, but there is a variation in all the Enfield. Now let's see type of an reproduction. There is a two type of an reproduction. One is asexual mode of an reproduction and another is sexual mode of an reproduction. We will see the difference between asexual mode of an reproduction and sexual mode of an reproduction. In case of an asexual mode of an reproduction, a single parent is involved and there is no gamete formation, and the very important thing is they look similar to their parents. The progeny looks similar to their parents. Example, amoeba. In case of an sexual mode of an reproduction, involvement of an two parents, one is father and another is mother, and there is a gamete formation. But one thing is they are non-identical, but only they are identical with the genetics. And very good example is humans. Now let's see the importance of an asexual mode of an reproduction. Asexual mode of an reproduction is similar, the progeny which is formed is similar to their parents, and this is involved in a rapid multiplication, and this occurs only in the lower animals and the plants. Let's see the types of an asexual mode of an reproduction. Number one, which is nothing but fission. In case of this, it's a type of an asexual mode of an reproduction in which the parent cell is divided into some parts and each parts develop into a new organism. Suppose a parent cell is divided into two equal parts and two equal parts grow into a new organism. This is called binary fission. Suppose a parent cell is divided into many parts and each parts develop into a new organism. that is called multiple fission. Very good example for fission is amoeba. Budding, a new organism which is formed as an outgrowth of the plant body, just like a earbud. The earbud, how it seems to be, the bulged shape on the one side, exactly like that, a plant body in one particular region, because of the multiple cell division, the part will bulge it out just like a earbud, and that part will detach from the plant body and form a new organism, and this process is called as an budding, which can be seen in an hydra. Spore formation. This is a type of an asexual mode of an reproduction which occurs in a fungus. The spores are a round bulb-like structure which is formed on the erected part of an hyphae of the fungus. When this ruptured because of some accidental touch or some hair, they detach from the plant body and enter into the surrounding. When they find the suitable medium, I mean the food, they go and sit and form a new organism that leads to the spore formation. Fragmentation. This is a type of an asexual mode of an reproduction in which a parent body, suppose because of some accidental, if it is broken into some pieces, that each piece will start develop into a new organism, just like in a Spirogyra. Regeneration. This is also a type of an asexual mode of an reproduction. The name itself says regeneration. When a plant body is broken, the part of that plant will start to regenerate into a new individual. This is called regeneration. Vegetative propagation. This is a mode of an asexual reproduction in which a part of an plant body like leaf, stem, root develops into a new plant under the stable condition. Under the favorable condition, a part can grow into a new plants. We can see this in banana, sugarcane, and even we sometimes try in our home also by keeping the mint for prolonged time. The mint stem will develop into a new plant, rose, etc. Now let's see the sexual mode of an reproduction. Here the new individual is formed by the fusion of an gametes from each parents, one from the male and one from the female. That leads to the formation of an new organism. The process of fusing of male gametes and female gametes is called as an fertilization. This fertilization leads to the formation of an embryo later that develops into a baby. Now let us see the reproduction in plant. This commonly occurs in a flowering plants because flower is the reproductive part of an plants. This flower is of an two types. One is unisexual and another is bisexual. In case of an unisexual, only one gametes are present, maybe male or female. For example, papaya, watermelon. But in case of an bisexual, both male and female reproductive parts are present together. For example, hibiscus. Now let us study the structure of a flower. Any flower you take, this consists of an majorly four parts. One is stalk, which holds the flower. Suppose I am holding some flower, the part which I am holding is a stalk, and the stalk ends with some swollen part called as an thalamus. And the next part is petals. As we know that petals are colorful, the main reason is to attract the insects to the flower. And sepals, which provide the protection to the flower. And stamen. Stamen is the male reproductive part of an flower and produce the pollens. Carpels is the female reproductive part of an flower and produce the female gametes called as an ovum. Now let's see what is stamen. Stamen is the male reproductive part of an flower. This stamen consists of three important parts called as an filament, anther and connectivity. Here filament is a stalk which bears the anther. Anther is a bilobed structure which consists of an two pollen sac in each lobe. So totally there will be a 4 pollen sac in one anther. Later this pollen sac produce many number of an spores and each spores develop later into a pollen grains which is a male reproductive gametes. And connectivity which connects the anther and the filament. Now let's study about the carpels. Carpels are the female reproductive part. This consists of three important parts. One is ovary, style and stigma. Ovary, this is the basal part of the carpels and which enclose the ovary within. Style, which connects between the ovary and stigma. Stigma is the exposure part of an style and which receives the pollen grains for the purpose of fertilization. Now let us study about the steps involved in the sexual mode of an reproduction in flower. There is a 4 steps. Number 1, which is pollen transformation, fertilization, seed formation and germination. Now let's see pollination. Pollination is nothing but transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the ovary is called as an pollination. This pollination can be done by pollinating agents like air, water or any other, sometimes even insects also. This pollination is of two types. One is self-pollination and another is cross-pollination. If the pollens from the anther of the same flower is transferred to the stigma of the same flower is called as an self-pollination. We can see this in a leguminous plants like pea plants and many more. Cross-pollination, the pollens from one plant is transferred to the stigma of another plant is called as an cross-pollination. Onion is a very good example for the cross-pollination. Fertilization, the fusion of an male gametes called as an pollen and female gametes called as an ovum is called as an fertilization. Fertilization takes place in a female reproductive part and this leads to the formation of an zygote. Later this zygote develops into an embryo. Seed formation. Once the zygote is formed, they divides rapidly to form a embryo. Once the embryo is formed, the ovule covers this embryo and forms a seed. Later, the ovary develops and ripens into a fruit. This process is called seed formation. Germination. Germination is nothing but development of an seedling from seed is called germination. Now let us study about the reproduction in human beings. In human beings, the only one mode of an reproduction occurs, that is sexual mode of an reproduction. In this case, the fusion of an male gametes called as a sperm and the female gametes called as an ovum fuse together to form a zygote. Later it develops into an embryo that leads to formation of an baby. All age group is not suitable for the reproduction. Exactly, right? So there is a particular age called as an reproductive stage. This reproductive stage is occur in human only when humans attain the stage called as an puberty. In case of an female, the puberty is attained between 11 to 13 years, and in case of an male, 13 to 14 years. There is some character changes in male and female when they attain the puberty. Let us see what are all the changes occurs in male. There will be a growth of an underarms and genital area. There is a formation of an hair and facial hair, change in the voice and occasional penis enlargement. In case of an female, this starts with the menstruation, hairs under the armpit as well as genital areas and breast enlargement. Now let us study about the human reproductive part in male. The male consists of many parts. In that we will be study each part in detail as the topic goes. The first part is testis, which is occur in a pair and produce a sperm. Not only the sperm, it also produce the male sex hormone called as an testosterone. The next part is scrotum. Scrotum is the extensional part of an abdominal cavity and which protect the testes. Not only the testes, which also maintains the temperature which is suitable for the sperm to store. The next part is epidermis. Epidermis is a complex tube-like structure of an scrotum. This helps in storage of an sperm. The next part is vas deferens. The vas deferens or the tube-like structure which is emerging from the lower part of an epidermis and which enter into the ejaculating ducts. The last part called as an urethra, which is the common passage for urine as well as the sperm in case of an male. Now let's study about the glands, reproductive glands in male. Prostate gland, seminal vesicle and Copper's gland. Seminal vesicle, which produce the viscous fluid which helps the sperm to mobility in the female. Prostate gland, which helps the sperm for the mobility by producing a white fluid. Copper's gland, which involves in lubricates production for the mobility of an sperm in the female reproductive part. Now let us study about the male gametes called as an sperm. Sperm is a tiny body which is having a long tail which carries the genetic information. Because of this sperm, the genetic information is carried from one generation to the another generation. Around 300 millions of an sperms produced in male per month. During the process of an ejaculation, 200 to 300 millions of an sperms are produced, but only 200 to 300 are survive. But in that, only one is successfully reaching the female gametes called as an ovum, and remaining all the sperms will expire within 24 to 48 hours once they are ejaculated. Now let us study about the female reproductive part. The female reproductive part consists of an ovary. The first part is the ovary, and which is present in a pair on either side of the uterus. They involve in the formation of an female gametes called as an ovum or egg, and also involve in the production of an female sex hormones called as an estrogen and progesterone. The next part is fallopian tube, the tube which receives the ovum from the ovary. The last part is vagina, which is a tube-like structure which receives the male gametes called as an sperm, and also this is the birth canal. Let's study about the female gametes called as an ovum. The female gametes ovum is also called as an egg cell, which is released from the epithelial tissues of an ovary. The process of releasing the ovum from ovary is called ovulation. The ovulation process starts in female once they attain the puberty. There will be a 2 to 3 lakhs of an immature ovaries in a female before they birth. Once they attain the puberty after 11 to 13 years, the 2 to 3 lakhs of an inactive cells will start to activate one by one. That results in the formation of an release of an one egg from each ovary alternate month called as an ovulation. Now let us study about the fertilization in human beings. This is an internal process during which the egg, which is called as an ovum, is released from the ovary, and this is placed in the fallopian tube, and this will long last for about 24 hours. If during this time, if the male gametes called as an sperm encounters, then the nucleus of an sperm as well as the nucleus of an ovum fuse together to form a fertilization. After this fertilization, a new single cell is formed called as an zygote. Once the zygote is formed, then this zygote multiply rapidly and it forms an embryo. Once the embryo is formed, the uterus is ready to receive those embryos. When the embryo is received in the uterus, that will develop into an fetus. The fetus required an nutrition, right? So that is received through the developed structure called as an placenta. This is the connection between the fetus as well as the mother. Because of this, the gases, waste, food and many other things is exchanged between the fetus and the mother. If there is no fertilization, the uterus is made up of an epithelial tissues, and this will become an very thick and it form an endometrium. Suppose if it didn't receive the fetus, then this epithelial tissues will rupture and it will start bleeding, and that process is called as an menstruation. This process takes place at the 14th day of an ovulation. Menstruation occurs every 28 days, and this is called as an menstrual cycle, and it is commonly called as an periods. In female, these periods will occur till the age of an 45 to 50 years. After that, the cells will become dormant, and that stops the menstruation cycle. Now let us learn about the reproductive health. Reproductive health is a state of complete physical, mentally as well as the social well-being in all aspects of an reproduction. Reproductive health deals with the having a good knowledge about the reproductive system, reproductive stages, the care of an pregnant ladies as well as the family planning and sexually transmitted diseases. There are several methods to avoid the unwanted pregnancy. Number 1, using of an condom. Number 2, using of an contraceptive pills. Number 3, surgical methods. Now let us see about the sexually transmitted diseases, which is commonly called as an STD, which is nothing but it is a communicable diseases which is transferred from one person to the another person through the sexual intercourse. Some of the example of sexually transmitted diseases are syphilis, gonorrhea, HIV, and many more. There are several methods to prevent these sexually transmitted diseases. Number 1, using of an condom during the time of an intercourse. Number 2, washing the private parts before and after the intercourse. Number 3, test the patients or the customer before having an intercourse. Thank you. Hope this video was enjoying one. We'll see you in the next video. Till that, keep watching Succeed e-Learning app.